Hello. I've just finished repairing that bit there, and I'm looking at this side. I can't quite decide what to do there. I thought my best bet is to start by cutting away the worst of what is here. So let's get rid of all these bad repairs and then do the repairs again properly. Okay, back in a bit. I expect there'll be some fresh air there when you come back. Okay, I've had a bit of a hack, and this is just dangling. But this here is original metal. That there's original metal, and that there would be parallel with it. If you see that sort of thing there. And that there would be, you know, a straight line from there to there. I'm kind of leaning towards the whole corner swap. Not the chassis rail, but from right the way from here up. Having said that, that bit looks alright. I think I'd do better to just swap the whole piece on, cut this off here, get rid of the remnants of this. I've got this piece on the patch. I think it might be an idea to, you know, cut this like I did on the other side and put a piece of metal in like I did on the other side to strengthen the chassis. I've also got this to deal with here and that to deal with there. Let's have a look at the patch panel. See, the patch panel isn't brilliant. This bit here is okay. This bit is a bit knocked about. It's also bent. This is pushed back, and there's a bit of rust there anyway. Although this piece here is quite sound, so maybe cut that out and let that in, but maybe not do a whole corner. But certainly that piece there could be put in, couldn't it, to replace that badly damaged piece. It needs a piece letting on there, you know, where it has been trimmed off. So certainly if I can cut, you know, I need a datum really, but yeah, maybe if I can sort of cut across here and use this. That piece doesn't exist, but I can get a dimension from there to there, from maybe this edge or somewhere like that edge there. Maybe get that edge there, come across, get a datum, measure there, go across, get a datum, and cut there, and cut there, and cut there, and put this piece on. Yeah, I think I might do that. Hello again. I'm working my way towards doing a repair on this corner, and I've cut this piece from the repair panel. It's a little bit damaged here, so although I've cut this out on the car, I've left this piece in. Probably, maybe, and there's some damage here as well, but see, there's a datum point there. Yeah, it's not looking great. But this is a bit knocked about. I'm just trying to think where to cut it, but that's not the point. I've got this piece here which goes kind of like that. So what I want to do is establish the dimension from this bolt hole to the edge of the sheet metal there. So I need to find the old piece that I've just cut off to get that. There's my piece. That goes like that. So assuming that that is the centre of that, is the centre of the bolt hole, I should be able to measure from that tangentially to that edge there, and then that'll be a datum as to where the new one, where this one has to go. But what's occurred to me is that, can you see that there's some rust here? This needs to be repaired as well. Never ends, does it? And what occurred to me was that it'd be better to have this strut out of the way. Now normally you drop the whole front suspension, but I think I might just get it out of the way, have it leaning out here, and just try and remove the strut on its own. Haven't really planned the job, it's just an idea. It'd be good to have the strut out of the way. A lot of tension on there. So yeah, so I'll move these tools. I've undone the one nut that was holding it on. I'll put that on so it just doesn't fall off and hit me on the head. And what I think I'll do, I'll get a jack under the stub axle, undo the nut on the thing, which is down there, that nut there, and hit it with a hammer like I did on the donor struts, on the other struts, and just see if I can get this strut off. Bear in mind it hasn't been off in, how old's this car? 55, in, you know, 60 odd years. Okay, righto. So let's see if I can just get that one strut off then. So it's gone. Yeah, I think it has. Yeah, I think it's gone. I think it's gone. I think it had gone ages ago, but I think the suspension bounces it back up again in. Okay. Forgot about the steering arm. Okay, anyway, I got that off. Amazingly, that joint don't feel too bad. I think I had broke it fairly early on, but it just kept bouncing back in. It was hard to tell by feel. That's giving me better access up here now. So that's trim there. So I've got to be careful I don't set fire to anything. So you wouldn't get that strut out if all this was in place. You know, especially the wing as well. You have to have coil spring compressors on it. There we are, one strut off. I'm struggling with that nut. I'll bring it back when there's more to show. Okay, so there we are, we've got the strut off. I'm going to try and undo the nut. I think it's going to be very difficult though. I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Cheers then, bye. Hello. There's my strut. There's a spring. There's a top spring plate. There's a shroud. I managed to get the nut undone. I was able to hold this in the vise and I managed to get the nut to come undone. Now see this here? This is supposed to be a bearing that turns freely. This had absolutely no chance of turning at all. That was why I was pleased to get those other top bearings and the bearing races, which are all in perfect condition. This one, I had to heat it up quite dramatically to get it to come loose, and in the end it managed to come out. So there's the parts. The strut can be used again. There is some resistance in the shock absorber part, and there's not a load of play. There's a tiny bit of play, but not a load of play. So that can all be cleaned up and put back together and used again. You know, if you're doing the Monte Carlo rally, you might want something a bit better, but those can be used again. So there's absolutely no chance of reclaiming that. The bearings Brinell into the surface and just completely ruin it. That's why I went to the trouble to drive all the way to Sheffield to get those better bearing tops. I'm going to have to call it now because it's getting late in the evening and I don't want to make too much noise. But yeah, so I've managed to do a couple of things. I've managed to get the strut off, got the steering off, strut out, I've exposed all this. This part of it looks solid enough. It just needs this other part reinstating. You need your little datums like this, look, because there's the edge there. That's the edge. So I will continue to cut away all the stuff that is no good here, and I'll get my patch panel and look, I think this might be slightly kinked there, so I'll get it straightened out, get it cleaned up. You can see this one's cut that side of the line and that one's cut the other side of the line, so I've got a little overlap. I need a datum for where that goes so that I can either weld a strip of metal on there to reinstate the edge and then plug weld it to here, or clean this up and weld the patch panel to this piece. But this does look a bit messy here. This is all the strength here, this piece. Okay, right. Yeah, you know, you have to break an egg, don't you, to make an omelette. Okay. I suppose my first job ought to be to make this area sound. So that's trim there. So I need to get up this all clean and back to shiny metal, and I'll kind of make life simple for myself and not try and reinstate this edge. I'll trim this off and I'll just make a piece of metal that comes along here and then lips underneath, and then I'll weld it underneath, you know, like an old-fashioned repair really, rather than an attempt at restoration. That can be trimmed off. There's a pinch weld there. Okay, this can all be cleaned, scraped, cleaned, scraped, and just painted. The strut top bounce is okay. It's missing a little bit on this side, but it's still got plenty of engagement. Where are we? Here. Here, is it? Yeah. So this piece needs to come out, which shouldn't be too difficult, look. I'll have to take it out, otherwise we'll have the car on fire. Okay, right, so that's another job, isn't it? Ugh, feels gooey. You know, it's mission creep, innit? You. So logically then I'd be taking out the parcel tray. I'll have to just cut it. I think I'll cut it with a knife across there and peel it back over here. That's probably the best, and then just glue it back in afterwards. But the ideal opportunity to weld this up is now, isn't it? Do that first. Yes, it looks like a bit of a scene of devastation, doesn't it? But until you cut back to something decent, you don't stand a chance. Okay, it's a bit late for me to use grinders and hammers and things now, so I think I'll go in the house, make myself a cup of tea, and do a bit of editing. Get a video edited up. How's that sound? Okay, righto. I'll come back tomorrow and do a bit more, and when I do, I'll bring you back to show you what I've done. Cheers then, thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Bye. Hello. I'm concentrating on this repair here. I've wire brushed it off and scraped it off. I've cleaned under there a little bit, and I've scraped all that well, not all of it, but I've scraped the loosest parts of that tower off and down there a little bit. And I need to take the trim off because it'll set fire to it. But let's cut this lip off first. So I'll do that, and I'll bring you back when I get to the next stage. Hello, I'm out in the garage, rather. I'm out in the side shed where I do my cutting and grinding when I can. Here's my cardboard pattern. I've cut out a piece of metal. What I've done, this is a handy hint. This little G clamp or C clamp is held in the vise. It's held between the two jaws there, underneath the jaws. So what I do, I use it to hold sheet metal like that. So I've used the wire wheel and I've cleaned the paint off the metal using the wire wheel, using this. So what I've also done, I've used it to clamp the paper in place, the cardboard, and I've drawn around it with a felt tip pen. I knew I needed extra metal there, so I've left that like that. Then I folded up that bit and drew there, and folded up this bit and drew along there. So that's my piece of metal now. A bit of CAD, cardboard aided design. So I will go and use the tin snips now to cut this out, because it's nice and quiet to do it like that. There's my little patch put in place. I think I might just get the grinder and clean up the metal surrounding it. It's got a little lip there which is helpful for clamping it on. It kind of bends under, so what I expect to do is to weld it in place along the top and then kind of hammer up the bottom piece till it touches, and then start welding it around the wheel arch, which is an upside down weld, which is my absolute least favourite. So wish me luck. I'm just bothered about the proximity of the trim inside the car, you know, the sound deadening and the parcel shelf, so I might have to take that out. I've undone that bracket and that bracket, and I've pulled this piece out and down, and there's my cut, and I've pushed that old coil in there to lift the shelf up, so I'm hoping that this will not catch fire. And obviously what I'll do a little bit, and then I'll come in and have a look, and then I'll do a little bit, and then I'll come in and have a look, and so on. This will go up, but you know, as long as I don't burn the whole car down, I don't mind. Righto, back in a bit. Right, check for smoke, can see smoke. Okay, not much smoke, just a little bit. Well, it's kind of tacked. There's a lot of dirt because of the crustiness of the metal that I'm welding to, but I'm hoping that as I weld, as it gets hotter, it'll burn that off and we'll start welding a bit more cleanly. So what I need to do now is join up between those tacks, but what I want to do is I'll get underneath here now and hammer this lip up a bit and maybe push it back like that, and then maybe try and get a tack just there on that vertical piece. Let me work on it then. Tell you what, I won't show any more welding because it's a bit tedious, isn't it? I'll bring you back when there's more to show. I'll do a bit of grinding first, I think. Okay, no smoking car, that's good. Yeah, well, I've just touched it with a grinder. Doesn't look too bad. Some bits went better than others, and in the end I worked out that the bits that went better was when I could see. The bits that didn't go so good is when I was struggling. So I've thrown that light over there completely away. Rubbish. My light that I normally use, I noticed all the wires were exposed, so I've got rid of that. So I've got that one there, which is the one off the milling machine. I've got that patch in. I'm showing you the better bit. The underside, while not fantastic, where are we, is kind of in. It was a struggle. And I found that I could lay like 3 or 4 beads down and it would all go to pot. So I kept cleaning it with a wire brush. But it was like as if the arc wasn't touching the metal. I wasn't getting that bacon sizzling sound. It was happening in mid-air. I was getting big balls of MIG wire building up on the tip and dripping off. It was absolutely horrible. So I'm not going to do any more upside down welding. I'd rather go and buy a bloody rotisserie and tip the thing upside down than do any more. Anyway, that patch is in. So I might as well just dash a bit of paint on it and call it good. Oh, there's a little bit there I haven't welded, but I think it'll be okay. I can put a bit of seam sealant round it, can't I? Because there's a couple of holes underneath. But it's a lot better than it was. There was gaping holes, wasn't there, before? Gaping holes. So I'll put a bit of red paint on it, and then mentally I can close that chapter on that little bit. And then later today, maybe, if I can do a little bit more, I will see about doing this piece here. And what I might do is cut this piece off. Oh, I just don't know, to be honest. Yeah, okay. As you can see, I've got hardly any datums now, so I've got to, yeah, I need to establish the positioning of this piece that goes here, that capping piece here. So what I need to do, I want to get that bolt out of there to start the ball on, because this wasn't cut off along the edge of the panel. You see there's a little bit more metal there should be on there, but I don't know how much. Actually I have got the piece that came off, and it has got this pressing, so I can measure from this pressing to the edge of the panel. And what I might do is what I might do is kind of make up the edge of the panel and then trim it off to the right dimension, and then this one here I can scribe down along that edge and then put my new piece onto there and weld it on. Might be an idea, mightn't it? Okay. Yeah, it'll look better with that other piece on, and then I've just got to fill in that piece there. Piece of cake. Okay, righto. I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Hello, here's my piece of metal that I cut from here. I put that in there like that, and I measured from the centre of that hole out to this edge. I said tangentially before, it's not tangentially, perpendicular. You know, in a right angle to that edge there. And the dimension is 1 7/8. So I've just done a welding job. And I welded a piece of metal onto there. It was the crappiest welding job in Christendom. Right, so I'm hoping it's oversize. Right, so if I measure 1 7/8, well rather, if I measure from there to the edge of this raised lump, so I get a new dimension, and then I can measure from the raised lump out to here, and then draw a line parallel. That'll be my 1 7/8 dimension. I need to cut this off, so I'm going to cut across here, probably, find the spot welds and drill them out, and I'll get rid of this piece here, all this lumpy stuff at the top. Hello. Right, it only took a couple of minutes, well, you know, 10 minutes. I drilled, end milled and chiselled, and it came off pretty easily, to be honest. When you're going up against thick metal like that, it's quite easy. What I did there, I've scribed a line there that is a ruler's width away from the edge. So when I come back, I've got to put my ruler against that scribe line there, and that's where my edge will be. Yes, I'd like to get this piece in. I mean, if I could get this piece in and then this piece capped off, that'd be great tomorrow. I'll be really pleased with that. It'd be nice to open this hole up nicely as well, you know, give it a nice round edge to it. Okay, I'm just waffling now. I'm not sure where all this crap is up here. At some point you have to kind of draw a line, don't you, where you say, okay, I'm going from repairs to sort of trying for perfection. I don't think I can try for perfection because, for instance, I paid, you know, let's say £1,000 for this car. There was one for sale recently that needed reassembling, and it had been taken apart in the 90s, and the body was absolutely perfect. There was nothing wrong with it at all, no rust, everything was original, very low miles, and that was £4,000. It just ain't worth ploughing time, effort and money into this one. Other than, in my mind, just doing welding repairs is relatively cheap. The expense that I've found has been the welding gas. That tots up. But luckily for me, the 100E videos have been popular. So the little bit of income that I've been getting from, you know, the YouTube ads is helping. So next time I need some gas, I've got the money to pay for it, you know, or some MIG wire or something like that. Or, I mean, imagine the, you know, the increase in the electric bills just from using welders and grinders all day, every day. With the cost of living crisis, it all adds up. So, you know, when you see an advert come up, just let it run, or, you know, you can always open the video in another window and not watch it and just let it all run, including the ads, and then watch it in another window, you know, and skip the ads. So, yeah, making progress. There's my patch panel. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about the front end of it. Not sure what I'm going to do quite here yet. And I've still got to do something down there, and I haven't made my mind up what that something is yet. Okay, righto, enough waffling from me. Take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers then, bye.